Liverpool fans, before we jump into today's breaking story, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a single update on the Reds. This channel is your #1 source for Liverpool transfer news, tactical insights, and all the drama surrounding Anfield. If you love this club as much as we do, hit that subscribe right now. It only takes a second, and it helps us bring you the very best Liverpool content every single day. Now, on to today's big headline. Alexander Isak, told to submit transfer request amid Liverpool proper offer instruction. This is the latest. Liverpool transfer news surrounding one of the biggest sagas of the summer, as Alexander Isak, Newcastle's star striker, continues to be heavily linked with a move to Anfield. Journalist Henry Winter has stirred the pot by stating that not only should Isak have already submitted a formal transfer request to Newcastle United, but that Liverpool themselves should have gone all in with a so-called proper offer, worthy of the striker's immense talents. According to Winter, both sides, player and club, have mishandled this situation, leading to unnecessary tension, confusion, and uncertainty as the new Premier League season kicks off. The new Premier League campaign has already begun, but one of the biggest talking points isn't what's happening on the pitch. It's the unresolved future of Alexander Isak, the 25-year-old Swedish striker, who lit up the Premier League last season with his dazzling footwork. Composure and clinical finishing has become the central figure in a transfer storm. His absence from Newcastle's preseason was initially explained away as a thigh injury. However, as weeks rolled on, the whispers grew louder. This was not just a medical issue, it was a transfer saga in full swing. By the latter stages of preseason, it became clear Alexander Isak wasn't sitting out because of fitness. He was sitting out because he wanted out. Reports indicate that Isak made his intentions clear behind the scenes, insisting he will never play for Eddie Howe's side again. Newcastle's response? To isolate him, instructing him to train alone, while disciplinary measures loom in the background. This decision came to a head when Isak was absent from Newcastle's season opener against Aston Villa, sparking outrage among fans and creating a rift between club and player that now seems irreparable. But how did it get to this point? Why is one of the Premier League's most promising forwards suddenly at war with his club? And more importantly, why hasn't Liverpool swooped in with a decisive move? Let's break it down. Alexander Isak joined Newcastle United from Real Sociedad in 2022 for a club record fee of £63 million. At the time, the move was seen as a major statement of intent from Newcastle's new ownership. Isak was young, dynamic, and already proven in both La Liga and international football with Sweden. Despite injuries interrupting his first campaign, he still managed to impress with 10 goals in 22 appearances, showcasing everything from blistering pace to cool-headed finishing. By the time the 2023-24 season rolled around, Isak had established himself as Newcastle's talismanic striker, scoring vital goals in both the Premier League and Europe. Liverpool, meanwhile, have been watching. The Reds, in the post-Jurgen Klopp era under Arne Slot, are in the middle of a squad reshaping. With questions around Darwin Nana's consistency, concerns about depth in the attacking line, and an ongoing desire to future-proof the squad for long-term success, Isak fits the bill perfectly. He's versatile, capable of playing through the middle or drifting wide, technically gifted, and at 25, entering his prime years. It's no surprise then that Liverpool are heavily linked with him. But here's the problem. Liverpool haven't yet put their money where their mouth is. Despite reports of interest, inquiries, and background talks, no official bid has met Newcastle's expectations. Journalist Henry Winter argues that this hesitation is a mistake. He believes Liverpool should have already tabled a serious, proper offer, an offer that reflects Isak's market value, talent, and importance. Instead, Liverpool appear to be playing the waiting game, testing the waters, and hoping Newcastle's stance weakens as the player himself pushes for an exit. On the other side, Winter points out that Isak has also mishandled the situation. If he truly wants out-tanned, all indications suggest he should have formally submitted a transfer request. Doing so would leave no doubt, making it clear to Newcastle, to Liverpool, and to the football world that his heart is set on leaving. Instead, his silence has allowed Newcastle to control the narrative. portraying him as unprofessional for refusing to play. Rather than as a player genuinely seeking progression in his career, this standoff has now turned ugly. Isak is training. Alone, Newcastle are digging in. Liverpool are lurking in the shadows. And the Premier League season is moving forward without a resolution. For Liverpool fans, this feels like déjà vu. How many times have we seen the club linked with world-class players only for negotiations to drag on endlessly, eventually collapsing? Because of unwillingness to go the extra mile financially, the frustration among fans is palpable. Let's pause for a moment and look at the numbers. Newcastle reportedly value Isak at well over £100 million, some reports suggesting as high as £120 million. This is a staggering fee, but in today's market, it isn't unheard of. Remember, Manchester United paid £85 million for Antony. Chelsea splashed £105 million on Enzo Fernandez. If Liverpool truly want Isak, they cannot afford to be timid. Newcastle's owners are under no pressure to sell unless an irresistible bid arrives. And Isak's contract, which runs until 2028, gives Newcastle all the leverage they need. But here's where it gets interesting. Isak's stance could shift the balance. If he continues to refuse to play, if he makes his intentions even clearer, Newcastle's hand could be forced. Clubs rarely keep unhappy players. Long-term, it disrupts dressing room harmony, undermines the manager, and alienates fans. Newcastle will not want their record signing to become a toxic figure within the squad. And this is exactly why Winter argues that a formal transfer request could have accelerated the process. Now, from Liverpool's perspective, the decision isn't straightforward. Spending £100 million or more on a single player is a massive commitment, especially for a club that prides itself on smart, calculated recruitment. Liverpool rarely act recklessly in the transfer market. But here's the counterpoint. Isak is not just any player. He's a 25-year-old striker with proven ability in the Premier League, Champions League experience, and the technical qualities that perfectly align with Liverpool's system. For Arne Slot, who wants to build a fluid, possession-based attack, Isak could be the final piece of the puzzle. And so, the big question looms. Should Liverpool go all in? Fans are divided. Some argue that Liverpool must seize the moment, send a message to the rest of the Premier League, and back their new manager with a marquee signing. Others caution that overpaying could set a dangerous precedent, limiting funds. For other key areas like midfield reinforcements or defensive cover, the debate rages on across fan forums, podcasts, and social media platforms, with every new headline adding fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Newcastle supporters are caught in their own whirlwind of emotions. On one hand, they are furious at the idea of losing their star striker to a direct rival. On the other, many feel betrayed by Isak's reported refusal to play, questioning his loyalty and commitment. Eddie Howe, caught in the middle, has remained diplomatic in press conferences, but sources suggest he is deeply frustrated with the situation, describing it as a distraction at a time when Newcastle are trying to build on last season's progress. Let's not forget Newcastle's owners are ambitious. They want to challenge for trophies. Selling their best striker would be a blow to those ambitions unless they can reinvest quickly and smartly. But, as every football fan knows, replacing a player of Isak's quality is no easy task. And so, the saga continues. Alexander Isak remains in limbo. Liverpool weigh their options, Newcastle stand firm. And Henry Winter's comments echo loudly, Isak should have handed in a transfer request. Liverpool should have made a proper bid. Neither has happened, and until one side makes a decisive move, this story will not end. The clock is ticking. The Premier League season is underway. Transfer deadline day looms large. Something has to give. Will Liverpool finally test